honest with me for a second. Is there something on your calendar this week, a commitment, a meeting, a yes you already gave that you genuinely do not want to do? Here's the real question. Why did you say yes? Was it because you actually wanted to, or was it because you couldn't figure out how to say no without feeling guilty, difficult, or like you were letting someone down? Here's what I've learned working with professionals, leaders, and entrepreneurs. The boundary problem is almost never about not knowing you need a boundary. You know, you've known for a while. The problem is the guilt that comes with enforcing it. Today, we're going to talk about how to set boundaries without the guilt and why boundaries aren't a personality trait. They are a wellness skill. Let me explain something that most boundary conversations skip entirely. And it's the reason the guilt feels so real and so hard to push through. For many high achieving people, particularly those who grew up in environments where being helpful, agreeable, or responsible was how you earn love, safety, or approval, saying yes became a survival strategy. Not a weakness, not a lack of discipline, a learned strategy that your nervous system developed to keep you safe. And your nervous system is very good at its job. It will fight hard to protect that strategy, even when the strategy is costing you everything. Here's the second layer of the problem. We live in, especially in professional and leadership cultures, a productivity first world. Availability is rewarded, responsiveness is praised. The person who can handle the most, do the most, show up for the most, that's the standard. And so setting a boundary doesn't just feel guilty, it feels like you're failing, like you're not capable enough, like you're falling behind or letting people down. But here's what actually is happening underneath all of that. Every yes you give when you mean no is a withdrawal from your own energy account without a deposit. And you can run that account at a deficit for a long time. High achievers are particularly good at this, but the balance always comes due. It shows up as your short temperedness you can't explain, the exhaustion that sleep doesn't fix, the low level resentment toward people who are technically not doing anything wrong. They're just doing what you told them you could handle. And here's the hardest truth. The people who need boundaries the most are often the people who are the most afraid that having them will make them unlovable, unreliable, or unworthy. That's not about it being a boundary problem. That's a self-worth conversation. And it's one we have to be willing to have with ourselves. In the personal wellness RX framework, boundaries live inside our vitamin B for balance. And the reason I frame it that way is intentional. When we call boundaries a personality trait or something along those lines, you either have or you don't have. It feels fixed, permanent, like some people are just built for it and others are not. But when you call it energy management, it's a skill. Everything begins to open up because skills can be built. Here's the vitamin B framework for boundaries in three parts. Part one, identify where your energy is actually going. Before you can set a boundary, you have to locate the drain. Most people are operating at a significant energy deficit, and they can't even tell you where the energy is going. It's just gone. Here's a simple practice. At the end of each day this week, ask yourself two questions: what took from me today and what gave back to me today? And keep a running list. After 5 days, patterns will start to emerge. You'll see exactly where the drains are, and some of them might even surprise you. Part two, evaluate. What is this yes actually costing me? Before you say yes to anything new, practice this one question. If I say yes to this, what am I saying no to? Because every yes has a shadow. When you say yes to the extra project, you say no to your rest. When you say yes to the last minute request, you're saying no to your evening. When you say yes to absorb someone else's crisis, you're saying no to your own emotional stability. Making the cost visible is what starts to shift the guilt because you realize the choice isn't between being helpful and being selfish. The choice is between which commitment you're actually honoring. This is where most people get stuck: the words. So here are 3 boundary phrases that are warm, clear, and guilt-free. Instead of, I'm sorry, I wish I could, but try, that doesn't work for me, but here's what I can do. Let me check my capacity and get back to you. I'm not available for that right now. No explanation, no apology, no long justification, just a clear, kind statement. A boundary doesn't need a defense. It just needs a decision. Inside Personal Wellness RX and the free My Wellness Snapshot, the vitamin B balance section is built to help you do exactly what we just talked about. Locate your energy drains and practice identifying where your boundaries need to live. Now, let me walk you through it. The vitamin B page opens with 2 notice prompts, and the first one is all about your energy flow. It says, think about your typical day. When is your energy going out to work, task, and other people? And when is it coming back in? Is there a difference between those two amounts? I want you to actually think about that right now. Seriously, picture your yesterday. When did your energy go out and when did it come back in? For most professionals I work with, the honest answer is it goes out in the morning, it goes out through the afternoon, and by evening, there's nothing left. And the evenings are when your family or your personal life needs you most. That's not a time management problem, it's a boundary problem dressed up as a schedule. The second notice prompt is the one that changes people. It says, are there things on your schedule right now that you said yes to but feel resentful about? That feeling is data. It is often a signal that a boundary needed to exist. I want to say that again. Resentment is data. It's not a bad attitude. It's not an ingratitude. It is your nervous system making the exact point where a boundary should have been and wasn't. Now, here are the 2 reflection prompts. Go ahead and write these, or maybe even pause the video. Prompt 1, the area of my life that takes the most from me right now and what I give back from it. Prompt 2, one thing I keep saying yes to that I wish I could say no to, and what stops me. That second question, what stops me? That's the goal. Because the answer to that question tells you exactly which part of the boundary conversation you need to work on. Is it the identification, the evaluation, or the communication? In the full Personal Wellness RX book, the vitamin B chapter goes through this much deeper, including a complete energy audit framework, a boundary setting workbook exercise, and a specific boundary style and where it tends to break down under pressure. because boundaries aren't a one size fits all. The way a boundary breaks down for a leader in a corporate environment looks very different from how it breaks down for a caregiver or an entrepreneur who is also their own boss. The book helps you find your version of balance and not a generic prescription. Here are three things you can do today, whether or not you ever read the book or download anything. Action one, locate one energy drain. Tonight, before you go to sleep, ask yourself, what took from me today that I didn't choose to give to? Just one. Name it, write it down. Don't try to fix it yet. Just name it. That act of naming it is the beginning of the boundary. Action two, practice the pause before the yes. Starting today, before you say yes to anything new, pause. Take a breath. Say, let me check my schedule and get back to you. Even if you think you probably can, the pause gives you a moment to ask, what am I saying no to if I say yes to this? That one pause will change your relationship with your calendar. Action three, write one boundary sentence. Think about one situation in your life right now where a boundary is needed and write out exactly what you would say. Not what you should say, what you would say, warm, clear, and with no apology. Practice it out loud to yourself, in your car, in the mirror. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is familiarity. Because when the moment comes, having already said the words, even just to yourself, makes it significantly easier to say them to someone else. Now, if today's conversation helped you see your boundary struggles differently, not as a character flaw, but as a skill that can be built, I want to give you something to help you to go a little further. The My Wellness Snapshot is a free guided PDF that walks you through all 5 self care vitamins, including a full vitamin B balance check in. Well, you'll identify exactly where your energy is going and what's stopping you from protecting it. It also includes a weekly wellness rhythm page so that you can begin building a week that actually has space in it, not just a schedule that's full. The link is in the description. It takes 5 minutes to complete, and you'll leave it with a clear picture of where your balance actually is and one small step you can take this week. And inside Wellness Boss at Design Life Hub, we take all of this deeper, including how to build sustainable boundaries as a part of an overall wellness operating system. The link is below whenever you're ready. You are allowed to protect your energy, not because you've earned it, not because your to do list is finished, but because your capacity to show up fully for everything and everyone that matters depends on it. Now, that is not selfishness. That's you operating in strategy.